Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassarre from teddybaldassarre.com, and in this video we're looking at a watch from Zenith, the Zenith Chronomaster Sport, in a couple different configurations. So if you're new to this channel, this is where we cover watches available for purchase on our website, teddybaldassarre.com, as an authorized dealer. So in this video, deep dive on this timepiece, final points of consideration at the end, but also throughout the video if you have further questions or looking to buy this watch, links will be in the description down below. Also, I'm going to be handing this review off to my colleague Jonathan. He's been spending some time with these Chronomaster Sports, so he's going to be doing the honors for the review today. So without further ado, let's take a closer look at this watch.
El Primero, the first. Now, whether or not Zenith was actually the first producer of the automatic chronograph movement is a point of debate amongst fans of Heuer, Seiko, Breitling, and others. However, they did all come out around the same time in 1969. Regardless of bragging rights, Zenith does have serious bona fides when it comes to chronographs, and the modern day El Primero is one to be reckoned with. And then one of their most popular is the Chronomaster Sport, a watch that takes some of the best from Zenith's history. Now we need to talk about the elephant in the room, the fact that upon its release, some people viewed the Chronomaster Sport as being a little too close to the Rolex Daytona. We'll address those points as we get into the review, but it is worth noting that Rolex was supplied their automatic chronograph movements by Zenith starting in 1988, and these, quote, Zenith Daytonas ran in production until the year 2000 when Rolex introduced their own in-house automatic caliber, the 4130. Zenith was tapped to supply the 3019 PHC movement, which was subsequently modified by Rolex to run at a lower rate to increase the power reserve in those 5-digit Daytonas. This was designated the caliber 4030, beginning with the reference 16520. So there's a historically strong connection between Zenith and Rolex, and you'll see that the Chronomaster Sport is very much a Zenith. The 41mm case is a clear evolution of the original Zenith Chronomasters, such as the A386, which still has a contemporary analog in the catalog today. Case height is 13.6mm, which isn't super slim, but in line with modern automatic chronographs. Lug-to-lug measures 47mm, providing an easy wear for most average to large wrists, and finishing is predominantly brushed, with polishing along the lug bevels on the top and bottom edges of the stainless case. Despite the push-pull signed crown and pump pushers, a point of difference from the Daytona, water resistance is a healthy 100 meters. The ceramic bezel does bear a resemblance to the modern Daytonas and is usually the design cue brought up most often when comparing the two. However, the font is Zenith's own, and the 1/10 second scale offers a sneak peek at the biggest party trick of the Chronomaster Sport, which we'll get to shortly. The crystal is sapphire, as is the display caseback, offering a great view of the El Primero 3600 beneath. The 3-link bracelet shows brush finishing on the outer links with full polish on the center links. This is another stylistic similarity to the current Daytona, but to be fair, this is a common choice for many watches with a 3-link bracelet, including the Chronomaster Original, which pays homage to the first Chronomasters. There's a signed clasp with a flip lock that features 5 points of micro adjustment, so getting a good fit shouldn't be a problem for most, but the clasp itself is serviceable, if not refined. The Chronomaster Sport has also been offered on a fabric strap or a rubber strap, if those are your preferences. Moving on to the dial, this is where Zenith leans hard into its own distinctive design language, and well away from the Daytona's visual cues. Chronomaster fans will easily recognize the iconic subdials of silver, anthracite, and blue, a trademark look that dates back to the earliest Chronomasters of the 70s. The most direct visual doppelganger is the matte white dial version shown here on the strap, with the matte black on the bracelet, a little less on the nose, but several other colorways have been added to the lineup since the Sport's release. Those subdials feature a stepped center with a snailed circular texture for added dimension, for an updated look that remains classic Zenith to the core. In a break from tradition, the counters are laid out as follows: 60 seconds at 3, 60 minutes at 6, and running seconds at 9. In case you're wondering, the reason for the 60-second counter will become very apparent once we get to the complication discussion. The applied indices are faceted rectangles with infilled black tops and lume-filled front facets for increased legibility. A trapezoidal date window resides in the traditional Chronomaster spot at 430, positioned so as not to cut into the subdials, retaining a nice balance. An applied Zenith star sits below 12, just above the brand wordmark, El Primero name, and the 36,000 VPH designation. That's vibrations per hour. The skeleton baton hands are loomed, and the central chrono hand sports the trademark Zenith star as its skeletonized counterweight, which leads us to why the ceramic bezel is marked in this unconventional way. The El Primero caliber 3600 was introduced into Zenith's regular production along with the release of the Chronomaster Sport, and its killer app is the 1/10 of a second chronograph, demarcated on the outer bezel. In a nutshell, the chrono hand makes a full revolution every 10 seconds, as opposed to every 60 in most traditional chronographs. If you're a movement nerd, it's especially thrilling to see it in action, and it affords more precise timing of events. As a result, the 60-second counter at 3 makes perfect sense, and it's the key differentiator between the Chronomaster and its competition. Other highlights of the column wheel El Primero 3600 include its high frequency rate of 5 Hz, which is 36,000 vibrations per hour, an anti-magnetic silicon escape wheel, a stop seconds mechanism, 35 joules, plus or minus 3 seconds a day accuracy, and a 60-hour power reserve, which is up from 50 of the El Primero 400 movement. Decoration is simple and industrial, but clean and well executed, with a blued column wheel, blued screws, and a partially skeletonized star-shaped winding rotor, continuing the theme of Zenith's trademark on the reverse of the case. Alright, now that we've had the rundown, let's talk pros and cons, and I will start with the cons. Big con is it still might be a little too close to the Daytona for some as far as the looks go. And I understand that, you know, when you're spending this kind of money, you want a watch that feels and looks special, unique, and I can see how some would make a comparison of the Chronomaster Sport for being a little too close to its long-lost cousin, the Rolex Daytona. Now, let's move on to the pros. And a big pro for me is that this is classic Chronomaster in a modern setting. You have modern Zenith producing a classic El Primero in a modern way. The El Primero 3600 is a fantastic and innovative movement. 1/10 of a second automatic chronograph in a 13.6mm case is a point positive above the competition at this price. Overall, for the money and on the surface, the Chronomaster Sport is a top option for a highly finished automatic chronograph. When you're talking about this price point, the word value doesn't seem to carry the same kind of weight that it usually does. However, given that the El Primero is at the ground floor for the automatic chronograph as we know it, the Chronomaster Sport does an admirable job of balancing heritage while also delivering an unmistakably modern package. You have the legacy of one of the first automatic chronographs, as well as Zenith's modern in-house manufacturing capabilities, and the result is a best of both scenario in which the Chronomaster Sport is a modern interpretation of an all-time classic by way of modern, industry-leading in-house manufacturing. I can't think of a better value proposition than that.
All right, everybody, that's all we have for this one. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Really do appreciate that, as it does help out the channel. Also, if you are in the market for these watches, they are available on TeddyBaldassarre.com. TeddyBaldassarre.com is an authorized dealer for all the brands that we carry, 35 brands in total. Each purchase from our website comes with quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the products that we offer. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I'll see you all very soon.